שלום לכם וברוכים הבאים לשיחה נוספת של PMI. אני אילנית פרימן, מזכ"לית העמותה, ובשיחה היום אני רוצה לדבר עם מישהו שמגיע אלינו כל הדרך מתאילנד. שלום רון לימן. Hello Ron Leeman, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well indeed.
Thank you very much for joining us. So Ron, you are a hardcore change manager. You have been involved in change of some sort for over 40 years, and you have worked in multiple industry sectors, implementing a multitude of different technology. You've done that worldwide, and in 2012, you have been awarded of the Change Leader of Tomorrow Award by the World HRD Congress.
That's absolutely spot on, yes.
Tell me, Ron, I'm very intrigued. What is a hardcore change manager?
Well, you might ask that question. Okay. There's a big debate at the moment about change management and project management, who should actually be implementing technology, who should be responsible for it, etc. I believe there should be two sets of people. It should be a project manager and change manager. So in that respect, me being a hardcore change manager means that I don't do project management, okay? I get involved purely with the people side of change. So I am responsible.
The only people or also technology?
Well, it's the impact of the technology on the people. Yeah, so if any technology solution is being implemented, it impacts a certain number of people, certain number of stakeholders, whether it be the whole organization or whether it just be a few people in the organization. But it has some sort of impact on the people. It can change their job roles and responsibilities. It can change organizational structure. They'll need to be trained. They'll need to be communicated to.
What kind of changes do people face?
Take a technology implementation. You've got an old technology there that's been working for years and years and years, and people have been happily working with this old technology for years and years and years. All of a sudden, along comes a project, and the project says, we're going to do away with that technology, and we're going to implement this super duper, all singing, all dancing piece of technology that's going to make your job a lot simpler, and you'll be a lot happier with it. And people will go, oh, well, wait a minute, this has been working okay for years and years and years. Why are you suddenly going to turn this on its head and implement some new super duper technology, which I don't know anything about, and I'm going to have to start using? Yeah. So it's all about taking people from old ways of working, and you have the transformation process in the middle, yeah, while you're doing the stuff, to new ways of working. Once you hit that go live and new ways of working, the important factor, which I mentioned earlier again, is that people need to adopt that new technology and use it in their day-to-day work in a way that they've been trained and in a way that they're going to continue using. You can't look back. As a change manager, I also get involved in shaping the training plan. Yeah, how a training plan, who's going to get trained, how many people get trained, on what modules do they get trained, and so forth. So, yeah, I'm helping, making sure that people adopt and use what's being delivered to them. And to be honest, that's breaking an old habit. So people have habits, yeah. So you're trying to break that old habit, yeah, for them to start this new super duper habit. And it might be a completely different way of working than they used to work with.
So you mentioned technology. What other changes are you dealing with?
You can deal with organizational change. So if say a CEO comes into a company and says, I don't like the way we're structured. We're structured in a very hierarchical way. I want a flatter organization. So that means changes of job roles and responsibilities, changing the organizational structure. Culture change. Again, if you've got a new board that comes into an organization and says, I don't like the company culture here. it's too whatever, you know, I want to change it. But culture change takes 1 to 3 years. It takes a long time. So it's a big undertaking, changing an organization's culture. But normally nowadays, it is more about technology. But then if it's technology, technology is going to change the processes. Technology is going to change maybe change the organizational structure. People need to get trained in the new technology. There's got to be an original business case that says these are the benefits that we're going to get from this new implementation. So all of those things there, I won't say psychological, but it's more to deal with the reactions of people and how they react to change and actually trying to solve any resistance to change, etc. That is what I mean by hardcore change management. I don't really get involved in the physical project management side, but I work collaboratively with the project manager.
You have explained to me that change management is a whole different discipline that needs to be learned, and that project managers would benefit a lot by being open-minded and understanding this discipline. I do wonder, it sounds as if any project manager, before they start a project, it would be beneficial for them to know how to deal with these kind of things before the project even starts.
Absolutely. One of the things I always maintain, and which never really happens, is that a change manager or change thinking has to start right at the beginning of the project. Yeah. In normal circumstances, unfortunately, in my experience and many other change managers' experiences, an organization brings a change manager in after the project has started.
So when he starts having problems, only then he brings you in.
Absolutely, that's exactly right.
And you're saying if he took me on before, he would avoid the problems to begin with.
You wouldn't avoid the problems completely, because change is dynamic and anything can happen in the change life cycle. But you will have identified all of the things that need to be done up front that will make the implementation path a lot smoother. And I wrote an article on LinkedIn about change, better late than never. The problem is when you get brought in late, you're consistently chasing your tail, you're firefighting, you're trying to do things. Yeah, you're trying to rectify things that have already gone wrong. And that is such a difficult situation to be in. But we do it. That's what we change managers do.
It sounds as though any project manager should be doing that for any project. Where is the change management? Where does this come in?
All right, it's a good question, and I've been asked that before. Just bear with me. In a normal project environment, given you have a change manager and a project manager, you have the project manager with a project management team, and you have the change manager, okay? And then right at the other side, you have the impacted business, okay? Me, working as a change manager, I like to sit in between the project and the business as what I call the conduit, because project managers and the project team have a tendency to talk technical. Yeah, it's all about the solution and, you know, configuration and 3-letter acronyms, etc., etc. So if you allow the project manager to communicate directly to the business probably would not understand half of what's being communicated, because, you know, they say, oh, we're running ERP, SAP, and all these technical stuff. People don't want to know. The business don't want to know about the technical stuff. They want to know is, hey, what's in it for me? What's going to happen to my job and my roles and responsibility? Will I still have a job? Will I lose my job? What's happening to me? So what the change manager does is say, project manager, project team, give me a status report, give me what you've done, whatever. And you say, okay, I've got it. I'll take out that technical bit and call it whatever else you can call it. I'll take that out, technical bit out. I'll rephrase that because the business won't understand it. So what the business get is they get whatever is communicated in simple business language rather than project technical language. In the project I was talking about, SAP, they didn't understand SAP, what ERP meant, right? And they didn't understand the technicalities around what was being delivered. All they were interested in is, what are my new ways of working? How will I enter the system? Will I need a new password? Will I need a new ID? Once I get into the system, what do I need to do? What are the process flows? Yeah. So that's all there. The project are delivering that, yeah, but it's still in a kind of technically bound orientation, as opposed to when it came through me and it went out to the business, it was far simpler, and it directly answered the question, what is in it for you? This is what's going to happen.
So if I understand correctly, if a project is relatively small, then the project manager can learn the skills of and use these skills and deliver by himself. But if the project is very big and complicated and, you know, involve all the different variables, it would be useful for him or her to have someone who does understand change management.
Yeah, you're right. This is what I advocate. Yeah, it really depends. As I said before, I think I mentioned, it really depends on the organization, the size of the project, and the complexity of the project. If it's a small project that's quite simple, yeah, it's a 3-month implementation, it's not going to impact many people. Yeah, a project manager can probably handle it with a bit of change management knowledge. Okay, if it's a small or medium type project with a few more stakeholders and the complexity is a little bit more than the smaller project, then you could get away with a project manager who knows a bit more about the basics of change, but normally you might like to think about actually employing a change manager as well. Yeah, but then, as I said, organizations tend to shy away from spending that little bit of extra money for a change manager. And it impacts.
But once you've learned it, you know it. A project manager, once he learns the skills, he's got it. No matter what, you know, he takes it with him or her.
Absolutely right. Once they've learned those skills, they have got it. They take it with them. And you know, I'm not saying that a project manager cannot manage a project and change management at the same time for a big project. I'm not saying that. That's absolutely not. All I'm saying is that they do need to have this understanding of how change impacts people, because it's something they're too focused on rational thinking and time scales and deliverables, etc. Yeah, but when you, again, I've mentioned this before, when you're talking about change, it's all about people's reactions and people's fears. People think they're going to lose something.
How long is your course?
2 days, but it's split into 8 modules of between 1 to 1.5 hours, depending on the number of questions people ask.
Is it an online course then?
Yes, it's online.
We said right at the beginning that you're working worldwide.
Absolutely, I still am, but I'm sat here in my office, but still working worldwide. Time zones can be a nightmare, as you can appreciate.
Absolutely, yeah? Yes, I know.
I'd love delivering to people in different cultures, yeah, because I learn as equally as much as they learn. So I had 2 guys from Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, and I was going through my course, and they said, well, actually, that might not work over here with the culture we have. So I said, tell me about it. What's the culture? What gets in the way? I said, because I need to understand as well. Yeah. So culture of all these different places, all these different people I'm working with is great for me, because, you know, you never stop learning, do you?
Is there any message that you would like to pass on to project managers in Israel?
All I'll say is, you know, project managers do a very, very, very good job. I've delivered a number of project management versus change management sessions to over 8 PMI chapters. I've got another one this evening to the PMI Philippines chapter. And feedback I'm getting from project managers is that they are all not aghast at the difference between the PM and CM roles and responsibilities, but they suddenly take a seat back and they reflect and they say, I never realized there was that much to change management. Yeah? And I think the message I've got is that if you have the opportunity, whatever that opportunity is, whether it's my training or somebody else's training or whatever, a project manager, if you have the opportunity to learn about change management, take it, yeah, take it, take the bull by the horns, because they will be better off for it. It enhances their skill set, it enhances their employability, it enhances these chances of project success. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for this interview, Ron. It was wonderful chatting with you.
You're welcome. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it has been a bit delayed, but we got there in the end.
Yes, correct. So I'll say a few more words in Hebrew just to round this up. ואתם שצפיתם בנו, אני מקווה שהפקתם תועלת רבה והבנתם באמת את החשיבות הזאת של Change Management וההבנה הזאת שכל מנהל פרויקט בעצם יכול להפיק הרבה יותר מהידע שיתווסף לו אם הוא ילמד, הוא או היא ילמדו את הנושא. אז תודה רבה לכם שצפיתם, אני אילנית פרימן, נתראה בשיחה הבאה.